Shri Darshak Mandali, welcome back to our show on the আমাদের এটা final এবং third segment. Before I go into the discussion, আমি আপনাদেরকে আবার মনে করিয়ে দিচ্ছি আমাদের আজকের কুইজ যেটা সেটা হচ্ছে when was the Greater London Authority, the GLA, created? 1998, 2000, 2002. আমাদের স্ক্রিনে একটু পরে আবার এটা আসবে। আপনারা অবশ্যই আমাদেরকে ইমেল করে আপনাদের উত্তরটা জানিয়ে দেবেন এবং আমরা আপনাদেরকে যে পরবর্তী অনুষ্ঠানে যে এটা উইন করবে তাদেরকে আমরা আমাদের গিফট পাঠিয়ে দেব। The email address is pnb@channeleurope.tv. আমাদের বর্তমান সেগমেন্টে আমরা কথা বলবো মোস্টলি উইথ জন বিগস, কারণ উনি হচ্ছে টাওয়ার হ্যামলেটস মেয়র ক্যান্ডিডেট ফ্রম দ্য লেবার পার্টি এবং সো রাইটলি আওয়ার সেগমেন্টস for today the heading is Tower Hamlets Mayor candidate John Biggs. John, once again congratulations on your nomination from the Labour Party. I heard somewhere that you gave away twice. How true is that?
I'm a very generous man.
Okay.
But I've spent over 20 years serving people in East London, and I'd like to do this next job. I think I'm ready for it, and I think I can do a better job than the current guy.
Okay, brilliant, because I was going to ask you that you've been a leader once, you've been in the assembly, you've seen it all, done it all, and why again you want to come back?
Okay, well, I think Tower Hamlets is being let down at present because we could do a lot better, as I've said before. We need a leadership that's got the bigger picture about what the purpose of people living in Tower Hamlets is. It's about grabbing the opportunities London's offering. It's not about people being separate communities. It's about one community where we work together, where we get things done, we respect each other's cultures, faiths, backgrounds, but we make ourselves stronger by working together. I think there's too much separation in Tower Hamlets, and I think we can. I think people would like to see some leadership that looks at the bigger picture for the whole of London. There's too much small politics going on here, and I think people understand that.
Sure. Shaz bhai, do you think there's separation among ourselves? আমাদের বাঙালিদের মধ্যে এরকম কোনো separation? I know in a wider context, John is saying that he wants to bring everybody together in one place. কিন্তু আমাদের ক্ষুদ্রভাবে যদি দেখি যে আমাদের যে বাঙালি কমিউনিটি এর মাঝে আমাদের এখন কি বর্তমানে কোনো সেরকম কোনো ফাটল আছে?
না, অবভিয়াসলি এখানে তো মানুষের তো সবাই তো এক পার্টি দল সাপোর্ট করবে না, কেউ কনজারভেটিভ, কেউ লেবার, কেউ ইন্ডিপেন্ডেন্ট, সবাই তো একটা অপিনিয়ন আছে। এই ক্ষেত্রে তো ঠিক আছে, উই রেসপেক্ট দ্যাট। কিন্তু আই ডোন্ট থিঙ্ক যে জেনারেলি এই ধরনের কোনো ফাটক আছে যে জন বিগকে সাপোর্ট করবো না বা অন্যরা সাপোর্ট করবো না। আই থিঙ্ক আমরা একটা সোসাইটি থাকি যেখানে একটা ইকুয়ালিটি আছে, বুঝছেন না? আমরা এখানে আসছি, আমরা ব্যবসা চাই, এখানে সেটেল হয়েছেন, থাকছেন, আমরা এখানে বড় হয়েছি, আমাদের বাচ্চা কাচ্চা আমরা তারা টিচ করি, যে ইকুয়ালিটি আমরা টিচ করি, তারা ভদ্রতা টিচ করি, আর আমরা মনে করি যে আমরা সেন্সিবল পলিটিক্স করতাম টাওয়ার হ্যামলেটে।
Of course, I think that's more important.
জি, রিগার্ডলেস
positive politics.
Positive policy, exactly.
John, we were talking about Brick Lane. Sorry, we've got a phone call. Let's quickly take that phone call and come back. Assalamu alaikum, caller.
Hello,
assalamu alaikum.
আসসালামু আলাইকুম।
কে বলছেন, কোথা থেকে বলছেন?
আমি কি স্টুডিও থেকে মাতি আনি?
জি, আপনি স্টুডিওতে বলেন।
আচ্ছা, আসসালামু আলাইকুম। আপনারা অনুষ্ঠান নিয়ে আমরা খুব ভালো লাগলো, আর আমরা বহুত মানে টাওয়ার পাওয়ার আছে আর কি, এর লাগি আমরা আজকে স্টুডিওতে কিছুটা কইতাম পারমু, এর লাগি আমি ফোন করছি আর কি আপনারা।
জি, মাতক আমরা এখানে মেয়র ক্যান্ডিডেট লেবার পার্টির জন বিগস আছেন, আর লেবার লিডার সিরাজ ভাই আছেন।
থ্যাংক ইউ জন বিগ, আমার থ্যাংক ইউ দিবা। আর আমার একটা কোয়েশ্চন আছে যে আমরা তো বাঙালি মেয়র আমরা এলাকাত আছেন, কিন্তু তার থেকে আমরা কিতাব মানে আমরা কিছু তেমন একটা পাইছি না, কিন্তু তাই তো আমরা আশ্বাস দিরা বহুত কিছু আশ্বাস দিছিল, তাই প্রেজেন্টেশন বহুত ফাইরা, কিন্তু আমরা তো কিচ্ছু পাইছি না এখনো পর্যন্ত। এবং হাউজিং সম্বন্ধে আমার একটা আমরা বহুত দিন অ্যাপ্লিকেশন আমরা বেশ কয়েকজনে অ্যাপ্লিকেশন করছেন, কিন্তু তারা 10 বছর ধরে 10-12 বছর ধরে অ্যাপ্লিকেশন করছেন, কিন্তু কোনো অ্যাপ্লিকেশনের কোনো রেজাল্ট নাই। অথচ দেখা যায় যে যারা 2 বছর 1 বছর করছে তারা ঘর পাই দিচ্ছে, 3-4 বেডরুমের ঘর পাইলা, কিন্তু যারা 10 বছর 15 বছর ধরে অ্যাপ্লিকেশন করছে তারা লিস্টও রয়েছে পর্যন্ত, কিন্তু এখনো পর্যন্ত তারা কোনো ঘর পাইছে না। তো আমরা বাঙালি মেয়র সাহেব তাই আশ্বাস দিরা, এখন আগামী ইলেকশন আসছে, ঘরে ঘরে গিয়ে আশ্বাস দিরা যে আগামী ইলেকশনও পাস করলে তাই দিবা,
জি
এখন আমরা হতো হলো জন বিকে তাই কিতা করবা আমরা কিতা কিতা আশ্বাস দিবা তাই আমরা একটা জানতাম সেই আর কি
জি ঠিক আছে ইনশাআল্লাহ আপনি টিভি দেখতে থাকেন আমাদের অনুষ্ঠান দেখতে থাকেন and John Biggs and Shiraz Bhai will answer your questions. John, the caller said that you know the current mayor has promised a lot of things but he hasn't delivered. Promise is a big thing for politicians, you know, and we need to hold people accountable on that. They should be held accountable, and people, and being a politician, you can't just go around on a tantrum and just promise everything. But what I hear from this caller is that the current mayor has promised a whole lot of things which he hasn't delivered. He hasn't gone into specifics, but he has you know asked he has promised a lot of things and he hasn't delivered on them. What are you promising to the residents of the borough, and are you going to do the same?
Well, obviously I'm not going to tell you I'm going to make promises I'm not going to keep. So I think people need to judge the current mayor on his record, and they need to say, are enough people in work in decent paid jobs? Are their families doing better on the waiting list if they need housing? Is the community better off as a result of him being mayor? And my argument is we can do a lot better than that. Well, I will set targets for building council housing. I want to get targets also for getting local people, particularly young people, particularly unemployed young people.
When you say council housing, is that social housing?
It's council housing built by the council, so it's social housing, and to meet the needs of people on the waiting list. I want us to work on regulating private landlords, not in an expensive way, but in a way that makes sure that people have guarantees about the quality of their repairs and so on. I want us to look at improving our education offer so that local kids will get a better chance of getting into better colleges, that people who aren't academic will get a good trade jobs in the London economy. There's loads of jobs in London, and the fact that local young people in particular aren't getting those jobs in sufficient number is an indictment of the mayor. He should have done more. In modern councils, the council does a lot to help broker the deals, offer leadership to get people into work. He needs to do better than that.
The other question he asked, I think Shiraz Bhai might be able to answer properly, but I'll shoot it to you anyway, is that in his experience, he's saying that his family members and others around him are on the waiting list for X amount of years, 10, 12, 14 years.
Okay.
But on the other hand, he's saying that there are people on the waiting list for 1 year, 2 years, maximum 3 years, getting their properties, and whereas the 12 years ones are still waiting. So I don't know if Shiraz Bhai would answer that from the council point of view, or you would answer. We've got another caller. Hold that thought.
Okay.
Let's take a caller. Assalamu alaikum, caller.
Hello.
Hello, assalamu alaikum, caller. Ke bolchen?
Hello.
Hello, assalamu alaikum, caller. Apnar motamot?
Hello.
Hello, assalamu alaikum.
Hello, assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
Hello.
জি আপনি টেলিভিশনের ভলিউমটা কমিয়ে দেন, কমিয়ে দিয়ে আমাদের জি জি এবার আমরা শুনতে পারতেছেন, বলেন।
শুনেন? হ্যালো
জি
আমি শুনছি।
জি বলেন, আমরা শুনতেছি।
আচ্ছা শুনেন। হ্যালো, আসসালামু আলাইকুম।
ওয়ালাইকুম সালাম, বলেন।
আচ্ছা আমি আলাপ করতেছি আপনার স্টুডিওতে।
জি জি স্টুডিওতে, এখানে জন বিগস এন্ড সিরাজ ইসলাম আছেন।
জন বিগস সিরাজ আছেন তো, দেখলাম তো।
জি
আচ্ছা শুনুন, আমি একটা প্রশ্ন করতেছিলাম আমাদের মেয়রকে। Can I ask something to John Biggs?
Sure.
Yeah. The existing mayor made a commitment that he will modernize their bathroom and kitchens. And if you become a mayor, what will you do? What is your strategy? And second one, our existing mayor auction sold a shorter house, shorter road house, auction by auction. So if you become a mayor, what is your plan? Will you do the same thing or do something else? This is the question. Another thing, in terms of the housing need, I think housing strategy is not appropriate, so that's why it is going to be discriminated. Some people get the housing, those are not longer housing list. Those are waiting for a long time, they did not get an opportunity to get the house. So what you will do when you become a mayor, and how can you make the fairness into the society? Thank you. Okay.
Yeah, I think the caller has raised three things here, but most importantly, that he's saying about, I'll come to the bathroom and the kitchen and the waiting list, but I think the most important bit here is the auctioning of the council properties. Whereas we don't have enough properties, and there's a huge amount of waiting list, and the council is going around auctioning its own properties and prime places too. I think at a certain level there's people are talking about who are these people that are buying them to at the same time. So what do you...
In his first year as mayor, I think it was in his first year as mayor, Mayor Rahman sold most of a street of houses in Poplar, and the council was unhappy with this, and they brought it to the attention of the newspapers, and he stopped doing it. But he did sell houses through auction. They needed improvement, but we argued that we should find the money and improve them because they were valuable street houses which people would want to live in. So we stopped him doing that, and if we hadn't stopped him, then he would have done more of it. So when I say he built 15 council houses, that's fewer than he sold. So we're actually fewer as a result of his leadership.
Yeah, if you count those in.
Yeah, so I'm not going to auction any houses unless there's a really good reason for doing that, which is debated by the council, which the
they
whole
can
council
always
agrees
be
on.
improved. You know. The other thing the caller has highlighted is about the bathroom and kitchen. Are we becoming the best borough in bathroom and kitchen maintenance?
Okay, the bathroom and kitchen programme was set up under the Labour Council, and the mayor has been busy carrying it out. He has done favouritism, so he has rewarded people in areas which are represented by independent councillors, and he has delayed the kitchens and bathrooms in other areas. But yes, people are getting kitchens and bathrooms. This is for Tower Hamlets homes. For the other landlords, for East End Homes, for the Harker, and THCH and so on, the housing associations, they have their separate programs, and some of those flats are still in fairly bad condition. But yes, it was always important. I mean, under the Labour government, we had a program which was to bring houses up to a decent standard. And that's what.
Well, let me ask you this question then, on the basis of this. As you said, I mean, the council doesn't have much properties. They've all given out to housing associations.
The council has over 20,000 properties still.
Yeah, it is.
But
let's say bulk of it is gone to the housing association. And as you quite rightly said, that a lot of these housing associations, even though they have their own program, there's not much happening on the housing and on the bathroom, toilet, or improvement of it. You being a mayor, if you're a mayor, how would you hold those housing associations accountable?
That's a really good question, and I think it's going to be a priority for me to do this, because when I go knocking on the doors of people who live in some of those housing association properties, some of them are very good. So the Poplar Harker is very good. Town Hamlets Community Housing is very good. Some of them are very bad, and I get a lot of complaints about some of the landlords. And I think the job of the mayor should be to bang on the door of those landlords and get them in the council and say, look, you are partners of ours and you need to do better, and we need to push them to do better. We need to get them to do more responsive repair services, and if they won't do that, then we need to say we don't want you to build in our borough, and we would like you to move out of our borough as well. I think the mayor is a powerful person, and he or she should be forcing the landlords to behave better.
I also want to pose another question on the back of this, is that there are a lot of leaseholders in this borough. And after Westminster and Kensington Chelsea, it's a growing number. Service charges are skyrocketing at the moment simultaneously. I mean, under housing association, you can see one-bedroom flats going up to 2,500. So people might be asset rich, but they're financially poor. So would you have any say on that?
In the end, the housing associations need to balance their books, and they need to justify what they are spending. And there are leaseholder organisations who are challenging them all the time. Again, what I want to see happen is where people have a leasehold property, they get transparent and fair accounting for what they're spending their money on. You know, it's nothing's free in life, but it's got to be reasonable.
The third part of the question that the caller said is the waiting list. Again, he's raised the same query, that there are a number of people for 12 years not getting a property, whereas there's 1 or 2 years going on to, and how's that happening?
Okay, well, we need to have a good advice service for people. People need to understand how likely they are to get a home, and we need to. One of the first things I want to do is to review the way in which we allocate housing in Tower Hamlets. I don't think it's fundamentally broken, but I think there are people who've been on the waiting list for 10, 12 years, and that's crazy. I meet lots of them all the time. And we need to give people an honest answer about how we're going to help them get their housing. It might be advice about where else to get housing. It might be about looking at the priority people have. It might be about giving bigger priority to people for the length of time they've waited. There are a lot of things we can do that will give people better hope of getting a home. The main thing we need to do, of course, is to build more homes if we can. And the second main thing we need to do is to improve people's incomes by getting people into work so they can help meet their own needs as well. But it's a crisis, but the current mayor is not dealing with it adequately, in my opinion.
Shiraz bhai, I meant to give you equal time, but I really want to grill John because he might end up being my mayor.
Well, absolutely.
So, you know,
and I think he will.
I hope you don't mind taking some of your time and sparing on. John, coming back to the Brick Lane issue, because we've been blocked down with the callers on the housing matters.
Okay.
You earlier said in our second segment at the end of it that Brick Lane, basically in your view, that it can be done much better and the business can be preserved, the curry industry can be looked into more closely and saved. As you can see, there are a lot of curry houses are moving. Naz Cafe, which was a cinema hall, then became Naz, has closed because there's not much trade. How would you protect the curry industry on Brick Lane?
Well, we need to sit down with the industry and talk through the challenges they have. We need to recognise that the cost of property in Brick Lane has gone up and up and up. And so you can't manage on a low margin business anymore. You have to have a curry industry which makes a better offer to people in some cases so that they can pay their rents. We also need to look at other parts of the borough where we can support people in setting up restaurants as well. But we need to improve the environment and safety and lighting in Brick Lane. I get loads of complaints from residents about the amount of alcohol in Brick Lane as well. So we need to get the right policy about how much alcohol is consumed in Brick Lane and the disruption it causes for local residents. But I think if we sit down with the businesses, we might want to talk to businesses about the associations and organisations they have and whether they can be strengthened. People have talked before about whether there should be a business improvement district. Maybe we can look at that as well. I don't have a problem with pedestrianisation, but it's got to be something that works for the businesses in the area.
Right.
I mean, gradually,
and one of the things that came out of that pedestrian issue is that there are a lot of groceries. And if somebody's carrying a 20 kilo sack of a bag, how is he going to bring it all the way down to the car? And
so Brick Lane requires people to drive down it most of the time. There might be times of the week when that doesn't have to happen, maybe late in the evening. But it needs to be properly based on consultation, and it's got to be a safe, clean environment which people find attractive to go to. Interesting, Brick Lane is now, with the area into Shoreditch, Brick Lane is now one of the busiest night places in the whole of London. You know?
I mean, my friends and relatives came down from Canada and Australia, and the first thing they said that we want a curry in Brick Lane, because they thought that Brick Lane, Bangla Town, means it's curry houses all over. But going over there, they saw that some of those houses
there are some very good curry houses in Brick Lane,
are kind of closing down and things like that. But in the future, as you're saying, the market is rising and house prices and the property prices are going up. How else would you think that you can? Do you think that the council can help through rates or business? I don't know. What are the options there for business, small business?
Well, the simple answer is that there is no magic answer, but the answer is not to do nothing. And I'm not convinced that the current mayor has done much at all to help Brick Lane.
Okay. On terms of the skills and employment, sorry, we've got a phone call. Let me just take that call. This will be our last call, and then because we won't have much time. Assalamu alaikum, caller.
Hello,
Wa alaikum.
Hello.
Ji, bolen apne matamot jekhane.
Basically, I just wanted to say I'm the fourth generation of Bangladeshi. I think John would be ideal candidate for next election. And how at the moment, East London, the entire Ahmed been run. We're not running some Bangladeshi village politics. So I hope next election, all the young Bangladeshi fifth generation guys support John fully. And I hope he wins the next election.
On one,
and John, and hopefully inshallah good.
On what ground do you say specifically that John is going to be a very good mayor for Tower Hamlets?
No,
give me a specific.
You can't. When you look at it, John is Labour Party. Okay, that's a national party. you can't run a small city as an independent mayor. It's ridiculous. And the kind of person that you from a northern, if you go to the house of Parliament, no one will listen to you. It's going to be like running around like this chicken.
Right. Well, thank you for that comment, Kola. I really appreciate your value time on this.
So do I, of course. Yeah.
Well, you've got a fan out there.
I've got many fans out there, and I think the important message is that yes, I'm a Labour candidate, and the Labour Party reaches across all the communities of East London, and we work together. I'm very proud of the work I've done with the Bengali community down the last 30 years. I'm very proud of the work I've done across all the communities of East London, and by working together, it makes London work. I mean, London's not the greatest city in Europe, and one of the greatest cities in the world by accident. It's a great city.
Do you think you can make it a greater city?
Oh yeah, I can make Town Hamlets a place where people are
Europe?
prouder to live. Oh yeah, well Town Hamlets is the greatest city in Europe.
We don't have much time, John.
Okay.
We just got about 30-40 seconds left.
Goodness. Okay.
And I want to ask you a specific question.
Okay.
That is, once you're a mayor, how many advisors you're going to have, and how many chauffeurs you're going to carry with you?
Okay, well I'm not going to have any chauffeurs.
How are you going to run around?
Occasionally, well most of the time I can use public transport if I have a good secretary.
But you'll have too many meetings.
If I have a good secretary, I will plan my diary. Occasionally I will borrow the car that's used by the person who wears the chain and does the chair of the council. I think that would be reasonable. But
so you'll share?
But I prefer using public transport because I get to meet local people that way.
Brilliant.
Number of advisors, the current mayor has about 12, I lose count. He's got lots of advisors.
I've got a weekly bus pass.
Okay, yeah, well good, yeah. He has about 12 advisors. I think by law I'm allowed to have one political advisor who will help work the mayor's office, and I need a small team of people to make the mayor's office work. But I don't need advisors. What we need is a mayor who trusts the council. There's very good officers in the council. We need to trust them to offer us the advice and the leadership. I think the reason the mayor has so many advisors is he doesn't trust the people in the council to do the job that they're paid to do. I think they can do the job they're paid to do, and we need a mayor who has more confidence in himself and in the people who run our council on behalf of local people.
Thank you, John. Well, our time has run up, but I feel that there's more to hear from you.
Well,
would you be happy to come back again?
Yeah, I'd love to come back, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
We can't get hold of the mayor, but if we do set up a debate between you and the mayor, would you be happy to come back?
I would be delighted to debate with the mayor. I've challenged him already, and I'm looking forward to that.
Hopefully in March?
Yep, March.
Okay, then.
March
Thank you, John. Shazbai, sorry I didn't give you much time. I just wanted to grill him. And thank you for coming along. Shuri Darshok Mondali, আপনারা দেখলেন আজকে আমাদের পলিটিক্যাল শো এখানে মেয়র ক্যান্ডিডেট জন বিগস আমাদের সাথে ছিলেন এবং জন বিগস আপনাদেরকে বলতেছে যে হি ক্যান ডু মাচ বেটার অ্যান্ড মেক টাওয়ার হ্যামলেটস ওয়ান অফ দ্য বেস্ট ইন ইউরোপ সো bear in mind, do the right thing, vote in May 22nd and don't vote with your heart, vote with your head. Assalamu alaikum.